Do a quick update on the 2A history project and asked for some insight from anybody who's interested in offering some opinions on it. Over the years, we've been attempting to archive our Second Amendment history, starting with the Second Amendment, the federal laws that affect our Second Amendment protected rights, the organizations and individuals who founded those organizations, the court cases and the attacks and the gun prohibitionists and everything else that gives us what we are, where we are today. And over the years, we've been archiving this information and presenting it in different ways. And one of the ways that I started to present the cartoons that we've been drawing over the years is in this tree sort of diagram. Again, starting with the Second Amendment as the roots of it all, going up with the trunk of the tree as sort of a timeline, using the court cases and federal laws and bans and prohibitions and things as the waypoints along that timeline, and then using that as a graphical representation to show where some of the organizations that are created a lot of times in reaction to some of the federal prohibitions or infringements, to show graphically the relationships there. And this worked for a while, but as I've added more and more information, it's actually gotten more difficult because there's more information in the tree now. So without adding stuff for no reason, trying to just incorporate the stuff that's of value or that adds, has some significant influence in the picture, it gets pretty crowded, and I'm just not sure of this layout anymore. So if you can follow with me with the concept, again, it still starts with the Second Amendment and it goes up. I've added court cases and other things along the way in the center there with some of the federal laws. Added a couple more organizations with their founders and stuff, but you can see it doesn't really use the page very well. A lot of white space, and something about having to start at the bottom and work its way up just doesn't work for websites very well. I guess on a video it doesn't matter. We can do whatever we want, but on a website you tend to come in from the top. So this whole idea of getting information across where you have to perceive it from the outside and go in and then up is sort of fighting the trend. So with that in mind, I decided to take that same information and present it in more of a timeline, but because there's no way to stick that on a page well, I had to kind of curve it. And for whatever reason, I started at the bottom. I guess I could have just as easily put the Second Amendment at the top and had it curved down like a path, but I started here and went around. So this one starts with the Second Amendment and then kind of graphically shows more chronologically the order of these things, not so much as branches from a center, but as, I guess, in a time relationship, in what order they were all created. And I don't know if that gets the same information across, or maybe it does get different information across. And these are a little bit difficult to interpret or to understand as well because they're black and white. I don't have a color printer, so I do have some color ones here in a second, but you'll see why I'm using these. So this gets more of the page, and when you see it in color, it makes it a little more obvious that there's this path, but I'm not sure that that's perfect. So we took that and went to the third option, which is, I'm calling it the comic book style or the graphic novel style. It takes the same information but goes in more of an English reading method, and it takes the path and goes here, stops and goes here, 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 and here. So for 5 lines it goes across, and you start at the top left and all the little information is still there. But breaking it up like this, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. One of the reasons I like this concept is it can show the cause and effect. The gun prohibitionists come along and do something that creates a national law. Organizations get created as a result of that to fight the infringements. And this type of layout where it's just from left to right like we're reading a comic book, I don't know if that gets it across as well. So while this uses the page most efficiently, I think this is my least favorite as far as a layout. But that's what I'm looking for, is some feedback on that. So to give you a little bit more insight, like I said, I don't have a color printer, but I did ask a friend to print these for me, and they printed them weird. So we've got these little versions, but we'll make do. So you can see I do have some information getting put across in the color. The color of the little bubbles or the blurbs behind everybody not only helps to tie the organizations with their founders visually, but then the color represents stuff like the orange are the female organizations, the tan would be the legal or the organizations focused on lobbying or laws. You've got the kind of a green color, which would be the state-focused organizations, Virginia, Georgia, New Jersey, etc. Then you've got the blue ones, which would be more organization-focused, and then this kind of green color for community-focused. So I think this is a way to get even more information across and to show the development. I think a lot of perception is that some of these organizations or some of the things that have been happening in 2A are relatively new, and they're not necessarily. Some of these like state level organizations have been around since the 1900s or since 1903. So to get that information across, I think the color is part of it, but again, that doesn't, I don't know if that's perfect. So we went to this layout, and you can see the path a little easier when you get the color involved. And I think that there's some potential here, especially when you have these curves. And I think I could potentially do something with more of a circle. And I'm also thinking about it, what if I put the Second Amendment up at the top to get the concept from here, not trying to fight the whole having to get the information from the bottom up concept. And then thirdly, the color version of the, I don't know, graphic novel or the comic book style. And again, I think this uses the most of the piece of paper most efficiently, effectively, but I just don't know if it gets the information across as well. I think this one gets the information across as well, or the best. If I had more idea, I think I could go with a different pattern, and this might be some hybrid of these two, but I'm not sure. So I'm putting it out there, looking for some feedback. Let us know what you think. I want to thank our Patreons who give me the time to put effort into projects like this. This is just one piece. The elements here that we're really looking at, the cartoons of the Second Amendment advocates. This is just the advocates. I've been cartooning podcasters and authors and attorneys and instructors, all kinds of different people. So this is just one way to use some of that resource, some of that, those elements. But these are going to be used in lots of other projects. This is just an attempt to kind of stop and collect some of the resources and put them together in a way that's useful and interesting. And hopefully we can put these up as, the plan is to put this up as a poster to make a couple of bucks for the project. So let us know what you think in the comments as far as layouts and anything else. We'll talk about this live on the Daily Gun Show, evenings at midnight Eastern. And until then, again, thanks to our Patreons for the opportunity to work on this stuff. We're looking forward to your comments. Thanks for watching.